Hi everyone, welcome to a new video, and in this one we're going to be having a look at the Holga 120 GCFN. I think that's it. Yes, GCFN. So I'm not going to spend too long talking about the camera because I want to talk about the images I got off of it and run you through those. The camera itself, very simple, commonly known as a toy camera. The GCFN is the highest model range in them, in that it comes with a flash with 3 colour filters, so red, yellow and blue. It has a glass lens rather than the normal plastic lens that you find on most of the Holga 120s. The rest of it is pretty much the same specification. You've got 2 shutter speeds, bulb and 1/100th, and you've got 2 apertures that you can select. A sunny icon, which is f11, and a cloudy symbol, which is f8. The lens itself is a 60 millimeter. There we go. It's a 60mm f8. In terms of full frame equivalents, that is in 6x6, a 33mm, and 645 turns out to be a full frame equivalent of 37mm. Now, I mention that because the Holga 120, if I just reach down and grab it, comes with 2 inserts to go in the back. One is 6x6, the other one is a 645 one. So you've got both of those options when you're shooting, and that gives you either 12 shots on 6x6 or 16 shots on 645. The viewfinder is only set up for 6x6. And that's pretty much it. You've got a tripod socket down there, which is a standard one, a wind on, and a shutter that doesn't lock. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot more to talk about in terms of the camera. So I'm going to show you all of the images that I took using this and just run through them with you, so you can get to see the whole roll off of the back of this, the good, the bad and the ugly. So, kicking off, we've got a picture of one of my cats. This is Jupiter. This was straight after I'd loaded the film, and basically I just popped it in there, popped on the flash, hit the shutter button and wound it on. I've got to be perfectly honest, the flash performance, and I think there's 2 shots on here I took with flash, I was actually, when I got the negs back and scanned them, quite pleased, or pleasantly surprised with how not atrocious the flash was. Yes, there's harsh edge shadows there, but it's not as burnt out as I thought it would be from the flash, so quite pleasantly surprised with regard to that one. But I don't think it really brings out anything great. It's an appalling photograph in the grand scheme of things. So if we move on now to our next image, and this one, what we've got here is a unicorn statue taken in Bristol. Now, Bristol currently has an art trail on at the moment where local artists and famous artists and other people and schools and etc. have painted a load of unicorn statues, and they've been placed around the city for people to go and collect. And this one is just outside the IKEA in Bristol, and I think this one actually shows off what the camera is capable of a little bit better, in that you've got that characteristic with the Holga's sharpish centre, blurred edges. There's less vignetting than I'd expected, I've got to be perfectly honest. I was quite surprised by that. And less light leak. I'm not really seeing a great deal of light leak on any of these shots. The rebate, the film edges did show a little bit, so it's definitely happening, and I think if I kept the film in there longer, these were shot probably over a period of about 4 or 5 days, I think if I kept it in there longer, it might get a bit more. But I think this one sums up the kind of lomography type approach that the Holgas are really renowned for. Coming on then to shot number 3, and this is just rubbish, but I did say I was going to show you the whole roll, so here we go. And this is another of my cats, so this is Charlie, looking out at the patio doors and wondering why he can't go out. The answer to that was because it was raining. And I don't know why, I genuinely don't know why I thought there was going to be enough light coming in through the patio doors to be able to illuminate him, and we've got a skylight above here to get something out of this. I really should have put the flash on or just not bothered, quite frankly, but Yeah, it looks quite terrible. Sorry about that, but not everyone's a keeper. Shot number 4. Yeah, this one. This was again me testing out the flash on here, and it's a stack of melon rinds that my son-in-law had stacked artistically. So I think I'd had a drink or two, and I said, I'll take a picture of those. So I did. Again, it's the kind of lomography type thing, I suppose. One interesting thing about this, again, perhaps the only interesting thing about this, is this was taken with the flash, and again, quite impressed with how well the flash has performed here. It's actually done a reasonably good job. And we'll move on from silly stuff like that now to the next 2 shots were taken pretty much at the same time. Now, obviously, one of the things with film photography is you don't know if you've got a keeper or not. There's not a nice screen to look at on the back. So one of the reasons why we've got 2 slightly different shots here is somebody walked in front of me when I was taking the first shot, and I wasn't sure whether I'd got it or not. So I'll step back a bit so I can see more of who's coming and take another shot. This is a statue dedicated to the Vickers factory that used to be in Swindon, and they made planes during the Second World War, and it's got made in Swindon stamped on it, and it's a mirroring of a plane's wing. And again, I quite liked how this turned out. It was a fairly miserable day, and I think the camera's actually, with the 400 ASA Ilford Delta in there, done quite well in that regard. And yeah, this one's not too bad. I find it quite interesting, and as I say, 2 slight variants on it we've got there. We've then got one that I just really wanted to see how well the Ilford 400 would result in this and what would come out of this. So it was torrential weather when I was working from home one day, so during a break for a cup of tea, I just picked up the camera, pointed it out of my home office window, got a flat roof directly outside it, and just grabbed a shot of some of the post-rain light hitting that, just to see really what the end result would be like. I've got to be honest, I think it's a vaguely interesting study of light and dark, and it at least shows the capabilities of the film off more than anything else. Artistic merit is pretty much 0 on it, but the Ilford Delta 400 responds fairly well, and is actually, I think, quite flattered in some ways what the Holga's capable of. But there we go, we'll move on from that. The next one is a Chinese restaurant in Swindon. It's in an area called Peatmore, and the rest of the films were all taken around this area on a photo walk I went on with a couple of cameras, being perfectly honest. So you will see some shots for these across various videos if you watch them. But this is a restaurant called Hongxing. It's a Chinese buffet type restaurant, but the building was built a long time ago in the early 90s. Was originally called the Chinese Experience, but it was built in a traditional Chinese style, so it's quite a stunning looking building. And if you're sat in a restaurant, it actually looks out over a lake, so it's quite a nice view from that point of view. Depends on your thoughts on Chinese buffet food, but I like the building, I like its situation, and I thought it would make a good shot with the Holga, and I'm reasonably pleased with how this one has turned out. Wandering around a bit from the Hongxing restaurant, I came across this underpass, and I thought it just led quite nicely into the underpass and the framing of trees around it, so I just grabbed a quick shot with it just to see how it would come out. And again, the tunnelling effect you get from the soft edges works quite well in this shot. Again, the shot's nothing really spectacular, but it does, I think, show off the characteristics of the camera reasonably well. Now, the last 3 images we've got here are of a building that's called the Arclight Building in Swindon. It's an office building that you can actually get really close to on a public footpath, and as I say, it's in the Peatmore area, and it's a fantastic looking building, and I've taken a lot of shots of this. on digital cameras, and you may well have seen those on other videos. I've also taken some shots of this on another camera I'm going to be reviewing soon, and those are in colour, and that was film as well. But I wanted to take a few with the Holga, and these were a real challenge for a toy camera in this kind of lens, because the sun had started going down, so the lighting was very harsh, the sky was very bright, and you can see here it's blown out a lot of the details in the sky. There's not a lot there, and because the building is curved glass, or rather curved panels, making an even more curved structure, there was an awful lot of light being reflected off of them, so it's quite hard to get anything out of there, and the lens really did find this quite a bit of a challenge. But I absolutely love the building, so I had to grab some shots of the ArcLight building using the Holga, and that basically allowed me to use up the rest of this roll of film. So that is 12 shots, the whole roll, and the Holga 120 GCFN. It's an interesting camera. They retail new for around about £50–60. You can get them in the black that I've got, or you can get them in a wide variety of colours. I must confess I'm not convinced that they're worth the £60 retail price for them. I actually picked mine up on eBay. It was brand new in box when it turned up. The box had never been opened. Everything was in there, and being perfectly honest, I think I paid about £20 for it, and I see them going on eBay regularly for around about £20–30. For me, I think that is a better price point. It's something I will mess around with from time to time, but it's not going to be something that I'd use heavily. But that's because I've got other 120 cameras, so it's never going to be my main focus in that regard. So for me, that was a better price point. But the Holga, I was actually pleasantly surprised with how much fun I had going out and taking the shots. And as I say, none of these 12 shots have any huge merit as pieces of photographic art, but the main thing was I enjoyed using the camera. It was fun to go back to basics, and I like the look of the shots that it gave me in black and white. So I do definitely intend to run some colour film through it and revisit it on that. So I might pick up one of the more wacky colour films if I can find it in 120, pop that through it and see what those come out with. But in the meantime, that is the Holga 120 GCFN. If you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button, and if you want to see more content like this, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new content gets uploaded. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye.